welcome to episode 83 of Equal Opportunity Crafter Podcast. My name is Juliana, and you can find me on Ravelry as Jules Lunder. Hello! Just coming into you, what day is today? May 31st, it's the last day of May, so I'm right on time for May, right? Just with a quick check-in for the month and kind of what's been going on crafty-wise around here. Haven't done this for a while. I already told you my name. You can find me on Ravelry as Jules Lunder. Did I already say that? I don't know. Wow, it's been a month. This is the last week of school. Yesterday was Memorial Day, so we had the day off. And then, of course, this is the last week. James, my youngest, is already done. He's been doing preschool, so he's finished. Right now, his tutor took him to the Treehouse Museum. It's like a local kind of children's museum, so he's off playing, which is why I can record right now. So this is great, and it's the middle of the day, and we're outside. I don't know if you can tell. Hello, welcome to my backyard. Unfortunately, the lighting is a little bit harsh right here, so I'm actually in the shade. We have kind of a covered patio here, and then the sun is right here. You can see how bright it is. This is my little flower bed in the backyard. I think that would be nice to kind of be out here. It's such a nice day today. I think we're supposed to be right about 80 degrees, which is great today. Yesterday we just hung out. I posted a picture to Instagram. The boys had what they call an iPad picnic. So I had the picnic blanket out and they just have their iPads out and chill, basically. It was a little bit nippy in the morning, you know, like low 70s, but by mid-afternoon it got pretty okay, so we pulled out the kiddie pool and they had fun, but hopefully this summer it'll warm up enough so we can pull out the kiddie pool more because they love that. What else has been going on? The garden, as you can see. I didn't actually do much here in the backyard. I just have this one little spot here. In the front yard I added some more flowers kind of in the flower beds we have, and you know, took care of some things, pruned some things, weeded. It needs to be weeded again. I mean, all the time it needs to be weeded, right? But I've been working on that, and I think I like how it's coming together. I actually think all the spots are filled in that need to be filled in, and now it's just a matter of keeping up with it, which isn't the best thing for me to do, but Troy has it set up so there's an irrigation system. There's, well, of course you can't see it here, but there's kind of a tube, I guess you would call it. It has little holes in it that basically drips in it. It's one of the stations on our automatic sprinkler system, so we can set it to go, which is great because before, when I had to go water the plants, they all died. I mean, I should not be responsible for plants, but where it's automatic, not a problem. And then I weed, you know, should be 1 week, but maybe every two weeks or so I go out and weed. So it's doing fine, and it looks pretty. And I only choose perennials, so I don't have to keep planting them or anything like that. But the garden's going good, loving it. What else is happening? Summer's almost here, yay. Troy is so excited. My husband's a school teacher at the high school. He was so excited yesterday. He was saying, tomorrow's the last day. Not really, Friday's the last day, but at the high school he's at, today's the last full day of classes. Tomorrow's yearbook day, so it's kind of a waste of a day. Thursday is graduation, so during school there's no school because they're going to graduation. And then Friday is just like a teacher finish up working day, so there's no students. So basically today's the last day he has to work, and he's so crazy excited about it, which is good. What else has been going on? Oh, I was going to show you a little bit. It's kind of a crafty thing I did. So both my sons are on the autism spectrum, I'm sure I've mentioned before, and part of what's difficult about that for us and for them is their maybe rigidity about things. They get very particular about how things need to happen. And then in other cases, they are very not particular, which is difficult when we're trying to get them to do something. They just don't care. So my youngest son, James, his biggest problem eating-wise isn't like Ben's. Ben has very particular tastes and won't eat very specific things because of texture and whatnot. James will eat just about anything. But he is very much a grazer, so he just will, you know, he'll be like, oh, I'm hungry, and want crackers. And he'll eat like 3 saltine crackers. And then half an hour later, oh, I'm hungry, and he wants string cheese. And then half an hour later, oh, I'm hungry. And so it's like, I can't have you eating all day, but not ever actually eating food, you know? And it's really hard to like get him to understand the idea of it's a meal. We're going to sit down and we're going to choose all our food. He kind of just eats until he's not starving, but then he's hungry again in half an hour. So anyway, so here's what I came up with. It's in a little binder, and this is called the PECS system, P-E-C-S, so Picture Exchange Card System, maybe? I don't know what the CS stands for. S is system, cards, I think. Communication. Picture Exchange Communication System. So basically, it's really good for non-verbal autistic people, but for my kids, it's really good for them to have the visual kind of organization of it. So here's what I made. I cut out some cardstock and laminated everything in nice thick cardstock. And so this has the soft Velcro on it. And then behind it in the binder, I have all of these cards. Okay, so each card, for example, goldfish crackers. It says goldfish crackers on it, and it's got a picture, and on the back is kind of the rough side of the Velcro. So the idea is he can go through and say, okay, for my first thing, I want goldfish crackers, and for my second thing, I want bread, and for my third thing, and so there's a lot of different things. This was the initial attempt at it, so I've since printed off more cards of things that I thought of, oh yeah, we need to print off something for this and for that. So like, for example, I've got fried eggs is an option he can make, or scrambled eggs is another option he can choose. And we're outside, sorry, it's a little bit loud. The neighbors are doing something with their car. Anyway, so these are all the choices, and then I also at the top left room so we could specify which meal it is. He wants to call everything breakfast. I think the main reason is because his favorite color is pink. And so he likes it, and I don't care what he calls it as long as he's eating. So that's good. And my other son, Ben, he is so in love with schedules. They do it for his tutoring. They always make a list every day, and he checks off what he's done, and he loves it. And so for bedtime, he always makes himself... Sorry, it was really loud. I have to edit that out. So my son, Ben, likes to make a schedule for bedtime, but he writes it out every day, and it takes him like a half hour to make this schedule, and he's so particular about it. So I printed off some more cards for him specifically, so you can see they have like shower, PJs, brush your teeth, bed, and so he'll just put them on in the order he wants and then take them off as he finishes. And then the other thing, I made more cards like this, so I'll do another binder for Ben. I wanted to kind of try it out first. But for Ben's binder, it'll have all the same foods, but Ben's big problem is that he is the slowest eater on the face of the planet. Like, completely slow. He would take an hour to eat a small snack, because he's just, you know, kind of, whatever, takes his time. So I also made these little cards that are stopwatch times, so you can see it says, you know, 15 minutes and so on. So when it's time for a snack, I could say snack, 15 minutes. And so he knows that whatever we're having, we have 15 minutes, so chop chop, you know, up to, I did 15, 10, 20, and 30, so we can kind of gauge, you know, he can take a little bit longer with dinner than he does with a snack or something, and maybe I'll add other ones later, but I thought I'd start with that and kind of see how it goes. But so far, James has loved the system. I've only done it for 2 days, and he loves picking things out and putting them in order, and then he kind of knows what's coming next, so he won't feel like, I think it'll help him not feel like, oh, I'm going to starve, so I better eat something right now. He knows he's going to be able to pick his food, and then he can wait until the next meal or the next snack time, and he'll be okay. Like, he's not going to starve to death. So far, so good. I've enjoyed it. The other thing I wanted to talk about that isn't quite a craft, but kinda, and some of you guys have mentioned it, so yay, is my bullet journal. Loud car going past. Hello, loud car. So my bullet journal is just in this Moleskine notebook, I guess you call it. Is it a notebook? Yeah. And so right now I'm looking at my podcast notes page. One thing I wanted to show you that I did is at the very top, I put the number of the page where it was previously. So in this case, page 20. Right now this is page 35. So if I go back to page 20, that was the previous podcast notes, and in the top corner it says it's continued on page 35. So one of the things about bullet journals is that you're just supposed to go to the next page and fill in whatever you're doing. And so that kind of helped me to know, oh, if I want to go back or if I want to go loud again. If I want to go back or if I want to go forward, that's going to maybe help me keep track of where everything is. And of course it's in the index at the first in case I need to look anything up. And the only other thing I've changed since I've showed you last was kind of the layout. So I was doing the weekly layouts in addition to the monthly because I like to kind of see what's happening all week. You know, who needs to go where, what day of the week is this dentist appointment or whatever. And so I was doing it like this. So on one side I'd have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday across the outsides, and then I would have the appointments, you know, the time and what I needed to do. And then in the middle, for each day, it would be just the tasks, the things that needed to get done. But I found that even though I put the date, you know, say Monday, and here's the 5 or 6 things on my list, if I didn't finish them that day, they're still on this page. So when I get to Tuesday, I can still look back on Monday and say, well, I didn't finish that from Monday, so I'm going to go back. And so it really became a list of things to get done during this week at some point. So what I've transitioned to for this week so far is just, it's a 1-page thread. I narrowed up, or narrowed down, I don't know, decreased the size of each day's blocks because I found I didn't ever have more than like 5 or 6 things on a day that was a scheduled thing. So I didn't need that much room. And then what I decided is just to have a rolling to-do list for the whole week. And maybe at some point I'll consider like having a due by date or something, some marker to show that there's a specific due date. But otherwise, most of the things I need to do at a specific time are already on the calendar date, like a tutoring session or, you know, anything like that, a doctor's appointment. It would already be on the little date page box thing here. So it doesn't need to be on the to-do list necessarily, so that took all the events off, and really it's just like, things I want to do this week. You know, I wanted to print off more of these, so that went on my to-do list, and it's just kind of sometime, when it happens, whenever. But if I had a specific due date, then I could maybe write that down next to it. So that's kind of how I changed it up for this week. This is the first week I've done it. Yesterday we didn't do anything. It was Memorial Day. So we'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll change it up again as we go along, which is another thing I love about the bullet journal, is that you're not stuck with a specific like layout for your planner. If you were to buy a planner that had it all drawn out, you would have to follow that exactly the way it is, and it's like, well, too bad you got the whole year, right? So I love that I can change it up. The other thing I was going to show you is what I use in my bullet journal, because I love color. So I actually started by just at Walmart or wherever it was. I bought some pens. There's a black and a blue and a red that come together, and they're Pilot is the company, and Frixion is the name of them. I don't know where my black one ended up. It's probably in my purse. But these are gel pens that actually, you can use this little nub to erase it. So it's heat erases it, so you have to be careful. Like if you leave it in your car and on a really hot day, your ink will disappear. But if you put it in the freezer, it'll come back, so it's kind of an interesting thing. But and a lot of people use this on crafting, like to mark quilts, spots and things, because you can't iron it and it will disappear. The only thing to be careful of is, like I said, if you put it in the freezer, if it gets cold enough, it'll come back. But I've been using this because I make a lot of mistakes, so I can erase, but it's a pen instead of a pencil, so it doesn't smudge or anything. And then because I liked these that I bought at Walmart, I, on Amazon, found, I think it was a Japanese shop, and I don't know why these are stuck right now. They're not going in. Well, something's going on. But this set of pens is all different colors of that same Frixion style, so I can erase all these, but they're all different colors. And then I also found these, which are the marker versions. So this is kind of a thicker line, obviously. So I use those, and then the black, of course, which might still be downstairs. I also had purchased this Sharpie pen, a fine tip, which works fine, but I can't erase it, so I kind of tend to keep using the Frixion. And then I also just have a little 6-inch clear ruler. And the ruler actually fits in the back of my Moleskine. It has a little pocket, so I can actually just toss that in there, which is really nice. So when I want to do the lines for the calendar dates and stuff, it's really nice. So typically I leave the markers just down by my computer and just do that like for the weekly layouts, and then everything else I just write in with black. So that's what that looks like. So that's the bullet journal. I'd love to see y'all's version. I know some of you have mentioned that you're doing it, but I mean Pinterest, right? I see all these different versions and I get all excited and try new things, and it's really good. I've enjoyed it so far. Well, so that's the intro stuff. That's a lot of intro. Some of it was kind of crafty, right? Like the bullet journal's a little crafty, and doing these PEX cards is pretty crafty, but so let me get back to my show notes. We'll move into knitting and sewing. There's a little bit to talk about. I've kind of slowed down on the crafting with so much else going on, but let's go ahead and talk about knitting first. Okay, so let's talk about knitting. I'm going to look down at my notes and make sure I have everything I need. So the first knitting project I've been working on is striped socks for myself. So far, so good. I've got what kind of looks like a sock, right? So when I tried this on, it fits. I can get it on, but it is just a scooch tight right here, so kind of across the ankle part. And I think it's because I need a bigger gusset. I just think my feet are so witch-like. They're like little thin feet, but at the top I have kind of a high, I don't think that's the arch, but where it meets the ankle, it's a little bit high for the narrowness of my foot. So I think I actually need to rip back, which is going to be sad, but rip back from the start of my ribbed cuff here, back over the gusset, not the gusset, the heel turn, back to where the gusset is. And this is actually the double gusset on the bottom of the foot. And I think I just need to go back and either start the gusset sooner, well, yeah, start it sooner and then have it end up with more stitches, so there's more there to go around my foot. But then I need to decide, like, if I want the heel itself also then to be wider. So instead of it being, say, 32 stitches on the front and 32 for the heel, that maybe I have 36 or something for the heel side, so there's actually more stitches on the back until I get up into the leg, and then decrease those out there as I go into the ribbing. And I think that will solve the problem. I am not like an expert sock knitter, so if you guys have ideas or resources I can look at about fitting, in particular that spot, that seems to be my downfall every time. But otherwise, they fit great, and I can get them on, like I said, I can, but I kind of have to really want it when I put that on. And I'd really like to wear these a lot if I'm going to spend all this time, you know, working on them. I'm looking for the, I don't have the tag, of course, the yarn tag, but this is the rainbow colorway, and it has a French name, of the Biscotti and C. Felix yarn. So, lovely yarn. I've really enjoyed it. The color progression is really fun. I love the rainbowness of it all. But like I say, it's just the fit thing, and it's just my foot. It hasn't mattered which heel pattern or gusset pattern I've used. I've had that problem. So I just need to figure it out. And once I figure out something that works, I just need to keep doing it that way, I think. That's going to be my solution to socks. The next project I've been working on, and this has actually received most of the love this month, is the Age of Brass and Steam kerchief. So it's like a shawl, it's a triangular shawl. And I think the last time I showed you, I had finished the first repeat of the eyelet edging, and I had put beads in it. The beads I had purchased were 2O beads. They were huge, maybe too big, right? So, I mean, they looked okay, but I decided I didn't love it. And they're kind of a pain to put in because you do the yarn over, so you do a yarn over, knit two together, and then on that knit two together, which becomes one stitch, you put the bead. So, you know, you can imagine these rows took forever because every other stitch I had to put a bead on it, and it took forever. Even just for this little one that was the first one I did, and I didn't love it, and so I thought, well, for all that work, if I'm not going to love it, maybe that's not okay. So I went back and ripped back to where those beads were, took all the beads off, and then kept going. So now where I'm at is basically to the end, and you can't even see it. I'll try to stretch out one half of it. How about that? Maybe. My arm doesn't work that way. So it's, you know, maybe, what, 15, 16 inches deep right now. And it's, I think, on my 32-inch needles, so it's probably going to stretch out more to that because it's quite scrunched. But it's looking really pretty. This is out of Madeline Tosh Pashmina. Lovely, lovely stuff. In the Penumbra colorway, so kind of shadow, right? And it's kind of this purpley color, a little bit semi-solid looking. So right now, where I'm at is actually at the very end. And I think, well, let me see what row I'm on. I'm on a wrong side row, right side row. So I technically have one more row of garter stitch edging at the very end right here. So I just need to do one more row and then bind off. But I do have a scooch more yarn left. I'm using, I think this is DK. And again, I don't have my yarn tag, but I think it's DK and it called for worsted weight. So I have a little bit more yardage than what the pattern calls for. And so already I modified it by adding extra repeats up to this top section to make it match the depth of these other ones. Originally it would have been maybe halfway as much. So I added more already, used a little bit more yarn there, but I think what I'm going to do is just keep doing garter stitch at the end until this is gone. And this isn't very much, and it's a big row, so I might get 2 or 3 more rows out of the end before I need to bind off. And I'm sure I'm going to be playing yarn chicken here, trying to figure out, I might have to weigh it. So maybe I'll weigh it now, and then weigh it after one row, because it's not going to increase by much every row here when it's huge. So then I can kind of gauge, okay, I have enough for one more row. Okay, I have enough for the bind off. Because I don't want to start binding off and get halfway and be like, and have to go back and rip back one row in order to bind off. I mean, I would, right? It's not that big of a deal. But maybe I could be a little bit more conscientious about it. The wind is rustling through the trees, and I hope you'll still be able to hear me over that. Oh, the only other sad thing that happened when I pulled this out yesterday, it had been like a week since I'd looked at it, and it had been down in the basement, and I'm sure little hands got to it or stepped on it or something, and my needle broke. Womp womp. This is from my interchangeable set of Knitter's Pride. They're wooden, so of course, and it snapped like right at the base. If you look at the original needle, it snapped right at the base where it meets the metal. Of course, it was the wood part that broke. So luckily I had some knit picks in the same size, which happens to be US 4, so I just grabbed the one interchangeable and put it on the other end, because knit picks and Knitter's Pride interchangeable cables actually interchange with each other too, so that actually worked out really well for me to be able to keep going. I was really frustrated, and in fact before I found that other needle I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to go to the store and buy like a 32-inch 4, US 4 or something, but then it was Memorial Day and it was like, I don't know if they're gonna be open, and it was just frustrating, but I found it, problem solved. So I'm nearly finished with that, and then I gotta figure out what to cast on next or what to work on, not like I don't already have plenty cast on that I could just work on. So I'll probably finish up. I have a design that I'm working on that is like a summer t-shirt type pattern, so I'll probably pull that out next and work on that. So that's what's coming up with knitting. Next up is sewing, and again, I haven't done a whole ton. Mostly I've done planning with knitting, so I'll talk to you a little bit about that and then show you what I have. Alright, next up, sewing. Let's talk about what I've been working on. Really only one project, which is kind of a lie. So I've been working on organizing my sewing. And so let me show you what I've done. I've actually found an app, and it's called Tap Forms on the iTunes store. And basically it's like a database app. So it lets you keep track of inventories or lists. So like some people use it for, like DVD collections or book collections. And they have some that are already kind of pre-arranged in there, and then you can customize it to be whatever. So I've customized a few lists in here. The first one I did was called Sewing Patterns. I have so many patterns, and originally what I did is I took a picture of everything, each envelope, front and back. So this is the one I'm actually sewing on, but I'll show you. So I took a picture of the front, took a picture of the back, and then uploaded it as a folder into my, I don't know what it's called, my photos, whatever, on my iTunes or iCloud, I don't know how it works. And so on my iPod, I could just view the pictures, but that was kind of frustrating because I had so many that, you have to rotate through, and the pictures are small, and trying to figure out what do I have and what do I need as far as fabric for this. It was not the most convenient way of doing it. I mean, it worked, but it wasn't great. So I found this app, and then what I did is, right now I can see I have 149 sewing patterns, and that's after I went through and I very ruthlessly culled a bunch. I have a big bag that I'm going to take to the thrift store of things that either I've already made and I know I'm not going to make again, or that I purchased when I was a different size or when I thought I was a different size and I'm not actually that size, or that I bought for the kids and they've both grown out of, you know, so things for little babies or toddlers, and my youngest is 5, he's going to be 6 this year, so I don't need clothes for 2-year-olds anymore. And so I just got rid of all of that stuff that I knew I wasn't going to make anymore, and there's got to be at least 40 or so patterns I got rid of, but I still have 149 left. And then I went and organized it, and so you can see here, hopefully, on my little screen, it's sorted by pattern company first. So it has a picture, because I told it to have a picture, and then it tells me, like, so if I select one, for example, boom, that one. Butterick 5315, and then I can put categories on it. So this one's a dress, and it has a belt pattern. I put the picture of the cover and the back that I had already taken, and I can click on that if I want to see it larger. So if I'm at the store and I'm like, okay, that's the one I'm going to do, and I need to see how much yardage I need. So that's good. The decade it's in, the sizes, all of the sizes available in that. The cool thing, oh, the descriptions, like typed up the description from the back of the envelope, the types of different fabrics it can use, and all the notions it needs. So I have all of that available. And then what I envision is I can mark them as favorites. So I have a list of favorites, which are the ones that it's kind of like in Ravelry or Q, like what's really going to be next. It's not just my favorites, but they're the ones that I want to find quickly, that I actually want to make. So that when I am at the store, I can be like, oh yeah, no, this is the one I want. I need 3 yards of whatever. So that's been really good. The other form I made was for sewing projects. And so I created it so I can put notes in there, like I chose size 14, I took off an inch in length, or whatever, and so I can keep track. And because it's in a separate form, I can actually link it to the pattern, and I can link the pattern to the form, so it's like they're all linked to each other, which is great. And then I also created another form for fabric purchases. So the idea is, as I buy the fabric, I can take a picture of the little edge of the bolt, which tells you like the cleaning, the contents, you know, the name of the pattern, or the fabric, the width of it and everything. And then I can use that to input it in there, take a picture of the fabric itself, and then I have a catalog basically of my stash of fabric. And again, because it's in there, I can link it to all the patterns. So for example, I can create a new sewing project, and I can put a date on it, like future, or I can actually pick an actual date. And then I can say, okay, so this fabric that I bought is linked to that particular pattern and that project, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a bit of a workaround like Ravelry does so well, but I have yet to find, sorry, it got loud. I have yet to find something online that does that for sewing, in particular fashion sewing fabrics and patterns and everything, so I kind of MacGyvered my own thing, and so far it's going really well. But that took me so long to just catalog everything that I had, type in everything that I had, but now that it's done, it's really fabulous. So that's what I spent most of my time with, but let's talk about what I'm actually sewing. So I kind of, you snuck a peek here, right? McCall's 7351, the shirt dress, and I'm actually making this version D. Super cute, right? And I hope it works. In my head, I feel like it's going to be a good silhouette for me. What I really like about this pattern is it's actually got multiple cup sizes. So I didn't even do a full bust adjustment, I just chose the D cup, and hopefully that'll be enough. I chose the size 14 because it has 3 inches of ease. So in addition to having a larger difference between waist and bust, it also has the right amount of ease. So hopefully it'll work. So what I did is I used some stash fabric, which is this chambray, is that how you call it? Chambray, sure. It's kind of a light denim fabric. Pretty cool, right? This is the back. And I had originally purchased this fabric to make a long sleeve button blouse. But then I was going to make this dress, and I thought, well, I'm going to use this fabric because I have it. And it was short sleeve, so it was going to work out. But the skirt is so massive. It's a circle skirt, which I'm so excited about. Yes, it's awesome. But I didn't have enough fabric to do everything. So I had to go, of course, I had to go to the fabric store and buy more. So the inside yoke is this contrasting fabric. And then on the collar, which I still need to add up here, right? So where I'm at now is I did the collar, so the upper collar is the chambray, and the under collar is that contrast. So, you know, as it goes around your neck, it'll be cute, and then, oh, peekaboo. Same thing with the collar band or stand, whatever you're going to call it. So the outside will be the chambray, and then the inside is this kind of quilting cotton, and that's where I'm at. So far I've constructed the dress, the bodice, and the skirt, put it together, and put the button band down the center. Next up will be piecing the collar together and then attaching it to the neck. And then finally I'll have to hem it up and everything. And so I'm actually fairly close to being finished with it, but of course the collar is the fussiest part, the trickiest little bit of sewing, and then button placement and everything. So that is what I'm working on. I'm super excited. Look, big huge skirt. And the best part, it's got pockets. Check it. Ow. Oh, 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 pockets in my skirt. I'm so excited about it. It'll be so fun. I think it'll be really useful, just kind of a basic dress. And if it's one that fits, like if I can make sure, especially the bodice fits, because the skirt is so, the skirt's so loose, I might do maybe the one with the curved bottom or something, because that's super cute too. Those are really cute. I really wanted to do this version with the kind of roll-up sleeves, but I had nowhere near enough fabric for that. So I would have to plan ahead a little bit better to make sure that I would have enough. But so far it's looking really good. I'm really quite excited about that, and it was using up stash fabric for the most part, except for those contrast pieces, which, you know, it wasn't very much. I think I bought an extra half a yard of fabric is all just to kind of piece together that. The last thing I was going to mention is the latest yarn or fabric acquisition. Of course, I have to keep buying fabric. I went to Hancock's, and I don't know if you've heard, but they are going out of business. The entire nationwide chain of Hancock Fabrics are going out of business, which is super sad. It was nice to have an alternative to Joann. We have a couple Joanns nearby, a couple Hancocks, and so now I'm going to be left with Joann's locally. Basically, is the only fashion fabric store. There's a couple quilt shops. The one that's fairly close and a few a little bit further away. So other than that, I'm gonna have to start buying fabric online, and it's hard when you can't like see it to know exactly what it's gonna do. So anyway, sadly it's going out of business, but I did get some fabric on sale. So I went and found this lovely fabric. Look at that. It's kind of a cotton, stretch cotton, so there's a little bit of spandex in it. It's got this huge floral motif. And I'll be doing a dress out of it, but like a sheath dress, a little bit more fitted. And the particular pattern I'm looking at has a bit of a kind of a fold-over collar. It's a little bit reminiscent of like a Mad Men Joan type dress. You know, it's a little bit fitted, pencil skirt type look. But I think in that fabric it'll be really kind of fun and summery. So we'll see. And it's got some stretch, so it should be, you know, it should fit. The fit should hopefully work out fairly well. So that's what's happening here for crafting. Yay! The only other thing that happened is there was a sale at craftsy.com, and so I bought another class. Goodness, I just keep buying classes, don't I? This one is from the same gal who did all the bra making classes that I watched, Beverly Johnson. She's fabulous. Any class by her, buy it. But this particular one is for swimsuits, which, as you know, is on my list for this summer. So I was super excited to see that. And she brings more of the support situation because she is a bra teacher. She talks a lot about support in the swimsuit. And this particular class is just for one-piece swimsuits. I think in the future she'll be doing two-piece swimsuits, which will be exciting too. But that, so far, it's just a one-piece suit, and I only just barely started it. But I'm really excited because that's my biggest problem with swimsuits is the bust, right? Isn't that everyone? Maybe not everyone. Some of you are lucky, but for me, that is the hardest part to fit and to support and to not squish and not squish and not anything. So anyway, so I'm super excited about that class, and hopefully I'm gonna be able to sew some swimsuits. We've got a vacation coming up in August to the lake. We're gonna be there for a week. So I'm going to need lots of swimsuits, and I have lots of fabric that I bought to make swimsuits for when we went on the cruise, and I didn't make all the ones I wanted to. So, you know, this will be a chance for me to do that. Anyway, so that is really all I have to talk about today. I hope you guys have had a wonderful May. Everything's gone well for you, that you're warming up where you are. It's actually been a fairly good day today, so hopefully this whole week we might be in the 80s. It'll be perfect, amazing. I'm really excited about summer coming up. Busy with the boys, of course. It seems like summer is busier than the school year. I don't know why that is. Swim lessons and all the other things we got to get them to, but anyway, so hope you guys have a wonderful upcoming month, and I will see you at the end of June for another update. So thanks for tuning in. I'll check you out on Ravelry or Instagram or wherever you are. So talk to you later. Bye.